Ever been on a job before sunrise, generators running, diesel in the air, and concrete trucks starting to stack up? And you're thinking, do we order the right mud? Is this mix going to hold up? Did I ask all the right questions in the pre-pour meeting? And if this thing goes sideways, am I going to know what to do? That's why we built Concrete Logic Academy. It's for concrete people who want to get better at the work, not theory, not recycled conference slides, stuff you can actually use on the job. Go to concreteschool.co and get free access while it's open. Again, that's concreteschool.co.
What's the most used man-made material on Earth? I'll give you the answer. Concrete. This is the Concrete Logic Podcast. Have you ever stopped to think about the sidewalks, driveways, bridges, or the buildings around you? They're all made from concrete. So why don't we discuss it more? In each episode of Concrete Logic, we'll explore a unique concrete-related topic with the help of industry professionals shaping the trade's future. We'll talk with suppliers, contractors, architects, engineers, specialists, and even proponents of competing materials. We'll get their views on concrete and their visions for its future. So get ready to mix things up with Concrete Logic, where we turn the spotlight on the material that's everywhere but often overlooked. This is the Concrete Logic Podcast. And now, here's your host, Seth Tandit.
And welcome to another episode of the Concrete Logic Podcast. And today I have Morgan and Scotch Nelson with SB Cox with me. What we're going to tackle today is why would someone get into the ready mix business after growing up around it? I mean, you know, the early morning calls, the weather, the trucks, drivers not showing up. Drivers are hard to get these days, I'm hearing. I had a meeting with another ready mix producer this morning, and they were telling us about that. But they have problem, on the ready mix side, you have problems all the time. And Scotch, he saw this as Morgan was working in the business. He saw all the stress, but you know what? Scotch still picked to be in the business. So I thought it'd be great to have him come on the show with his dad, Morgan, and kind of share their story and what motivated Scotch to follow his dad, Morgan, into the business. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we get started, I just want to remind you all how you can support the show. The first way is if you enjoy the podcast, please share it with a colleague or a coworker or somebody that you think that would enjoy the show. That helps tremendously. The next way is if you go to the concretelogicpodcast.com website. There's a couple ways you can get a hold of me. The first way is at the top of the web page there. There's a navigation bar, and one of the options on the navigation bar says Ask Seth. If you click on that, a email form pops up, and you can type whatever you want in there. You can just say hi or whatever. But what I'm really looking for is topic or guest suggestions. Many of our episodes are ideas from folks that have reached out and say, hey, I really would like to hear from a certain guest, or hey, I want to learn about a certain topic. So that is what we're looking for there. And if you're like me, as you can see, I rather talk, versus type out things. You can also get a hold of me on the same homepage. There's a little microphone in the bottom right-hand corner of that homepage. You click on that, and it records your voice right over to the computer or your cell phone, whatever you're using to get on that website. So that's what we're looking for, guest or topic suggestions. The next way is on the same homepage on the concretelogicpodcast.com website, there's a donation button, and I think it says donate or support. You click on that, and a PayPal page pops up, and it allows you to put any dollar amount you want in there, and people have been supporting the show that way. So any amount is greatly appreciated. Goes to paying for the platform we use to record, microphones, all the stuff you need for a podcast. So that's another way you can support the show. And then the last way is if you check out concreteschool.co. We started an academy where people can join, and it's essentially if you enjoy these topics that we talk about on the show, you can join this community, and we've kind of expanded it so that especially engineers or other folks that need professional development hours, you can go on there and take these quizzes that go along with the podcast topics and get your professional development hours. So we track all the time you spend on there and everything, so you get credit for that. Or if you just want to learn more about the topics, it's a great place to join others that are also wanting to learn more. So check that out as well. ConcreteSchool is that website. All right, Morgan and Scotch, let's get into the topic. Yeah. So Morgan, tell us a little bit about SB Cox, and then we'll loop Scotch in and ask him what he was seeing.
I got you. Well, thank you very much for having us, Seth. I really do appreciate it. SB Cox, we started SB Cox Ready Mix in 1996. I was working for SB Cox Demolition Company at the time. Mr. Cox and I wanted to get into doing my own thing and getting in the ready mix business. And we started with one plant out here on Broad Street, had 6 used trucks and kind of got into it. And it's just been a great experience for us. We learned a lot along the way and have grown. We've expanded to, we're building our 10th plant right now, pretty much all focused in Central Virginia, Chesapeake, Smithfield, Chesapeake. And it's been what a great community and the people that we've met and the partnerships that we've had through the years. And I love the fact that I want to hear what some of these answers that Scotch is going to give, because he did grow up with it firsthand, but I think he saw how rewarding it was for me also with, we got some lifelong friends that mean a lot to us. Bob Swope, Terry Crispell, just a many of them that Robert O'Brien, another family-owned father-son business up in Lynchburg, and it just is a very rewarding industry. Very demanding for sure, but rewarding. So that's kind of my take on where we are and what we're doing right now.
Yeah. I think you're looking back at it now, but and saying how much you enjoyed it and everything. But I'm sure there were times when you're in the trenches, you're like, oh, I don't know if this is for me, because you're being very humble. But I know it takes a lot to get a business like that going.
Well, it takes a team, no doubt about it. I know that people say it, but like I said, Mr. Cox, Barbie Cox, and I are partners, and supported us greatly. Billy Otley was a guy that really was a mentor of mine. That he ran SB Cox operations for many years. Those nights when it was 10 o'clock at night and I was underneath the truck and really trying to figure out how to get that truck running for the next morning, and Billy would always be there to give me support. I mentioned Bob Swope. I mean, he is, everybody definitely in the Mid-Atlantic knows who Swope and Associates is, and I was really, really tremendous in helping me learn concrete. You mentioned a little earlier that you just really wanted to learn more about concrete. And, it is a scientific chemical reaction that when you really get into it, it's a lot more to it. And he really guided me a lot and helped our company more than I can even ever say, and became really close friends, and it's kind of ironic now. Bob's son Matthew's in it, and Scotch and Matthew are really close, and those things are priceless. So you mentioned earlier Glenn Webb, and Hank Neal was first guy that we started with. It was he and I kind of starting out, and Glenn Webb, and we had a guy Mike Pereira that really helped us a lot through the years. And those things evolve nowadays. I know you've dealt with Matt, and Matt's our vice president, and just been just a fantastic addition to our company. Some of that, that really has helped and moved us in some positive ways for sure. So there's a lot of people along the way that put up with us and really helped me get through this for sure.
Yeah. So Scotch, can you talk about your, you were saying before we hit record that as a kid, you really don't know what your dad is doing. He leaves and he comes back, maybe before dinner. And you're like, oh, what'd you do? Even with my kids, I was sharing with you guys, I got my kids. I mean, I don't think they have a full understanding of what I do. I've taken my oldest boy to a job site and showed him, and he's like, tower crane. He's like, wow, that's cool. So can you talk about a little bit about, your I guess, your first introduction to the ready mix business?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like we kind of touched on earlier, you asked, why would I follow into this business? And I've heard that question asked so many times from people. And, seeing my dad go up early mornings and come home late and working on the weekends is definitely, like I was saying earlier, as a kid, you don't really understand that. And you're just kind of curious. And so getting more involved in the business now, I do understand what he was doing and that sacrifice he was making to grow this business and provide for his family. And it's definitely reassuring that you know, he did it and it's helped us out. And, he said he started with Mr. Cox and them with one plant and, being a kid and seeing that and seeing this business grow and growing up, expiring. So yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. Yeah, I was curious, Scotch, because I think everybody says, "Hey, we need more folks. We're struggling with labor." And it's a dynamic that we're all dealing with right now because of the demand, the demand in Virginia for construction is off the charts, to say the least. And we're always trying to figure out the way to recruit the next generation. Everyone's right now is worried about hiring folks that can work tomorrow, but we really got to start looking as a industry, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, where are those folks coming from? So I know personally, I've tried different things that, work with different, ages for kids that try to introduce them to the industry. And I think that might be something that you can speak to, is like, when were you like introduced to it and you're like, hey, this might be something I want to look into more and see what dad's been spending all of his time doing?
Yeah, well, growing up, just being around the plants at a young age and the trucks, seeing it and what we said earlier, what 10-year-old doesn't love trucks and plants and loaders? And, I grew up on the weekends working here and summer breaks and winter breaks and just kind of showed me that this is a great opportunity for someone who's young and can get in and learn this business. It can be a great career. And I think we do need to attract more younger people to it. And that might be, just getting it out there. We have a marketing girl that has done a great job now of kind of putting us out on social media, the younger generation be included. We're addicted to social media. So getting the word out there about it and just showing the benefits of what this can do. And, I became a member of the BMRCA. And when I first got there, I was definitely the youngest one there, one of them. And over the past couple of years, I've definitely seen more people my age getting into the industry, and it's great. And, if we can build those relationships at this young age, it's going to help me in this industry and SB Cox in the long run, building just from the ground up at a young age. And yeah,
Meeting those right people. All kidding aside, I think he got hooked one time. Like you said, Scotch grew up, underneath the plant shoveling and working on weekends some. He had I think his first truck was a old 250 we had here, had 500,000 miles on it. And, he was 16 years old. We were building a new plant here. And, I was like, hey, go hook up on that tag trailer and take that skid steer up to the new plant. I think by the time he drove up the road, I think he got a sense of accomplishment. And I really think that was a thing that sparked him when he really wanted to get into this business. So,
Yeah.
it's
Give
crazy.
them some ownership of
Yep.
being part of something. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to ask you if looking back, and if you were trying to, if you were going to almost like a, not a, like a curriculum almost, I would say. So it sounds like Scotch got a look at what was going on at the plant at like sounds like 10, 11 years old and started doing that. So can you talk about a little and you skipped up to 16.
Yeah.
So between 10 and 16, how did you keep that interest going? You might have not done it on purpose, but if you look back, how did you keep feeding him to keep him interested? Or
I don't know if he was real interested in coming pulling weeds and cutting grass, but
wash racks and
he definitely did a lot of that through the years. But when Scotch came full time, I was pretty adamant that he needed to prove himself, and he started. Scotch Ready drove a truck for over a year. He was in the shop for a year. He ran a plant for a couple of years. That was something that I felt very strongly that he needed to really learn from the ground up. And I was always preaching to him that, you need to earn the respect and you need to, work harder. And he did. He very much did. So we had an opportunity. We were building a new plant. And so he went down to Gloucester and pretty much worked with our team from digging the footings to erecting the plant and running that plant for a while. And I mean, Scotch can speak. I think it really gave him a great foundation of everything we do.
Yeah, I definitely think the way I came into this business, I thought was great for me is, like you said, I started down there in Gloucester, watched the plant go up top to bottom and, started by working on the plants and understanding how they work. And that was huge for me later in my career when we do have issues, seeing how the plants work and operate and how to change parts on them. And then was there and then ran a loader for the plant for a long time and ended up moving into batching for a little bit, running the plant. And then it was for about a year or so, I drove a mixer and then got out of that and did some sales and then just kind of bounced all the way around to get a good understanding of every aspect of the company.
Yeah. So it sounds like you got to taste a little bit of everything, which kind of reminds me a lot of what we do over at Baker's. We have this 5-quarter system where folks that first join us, they do a little bit of everything, labor, place and finish, carpenter, field engineering or line and grade. And they get a little taste of everything because the big thing for us was if you're going to lead people, you should understand what you're asking them to do. And I think that's what you ended up doing over there. So, Scotch has got the benefit. His dad works at the company. Do you think this is something that we could, as an industry, replicate? I mean, is this something like that? I don't know. I know Baker. I'm pretty sure we don't hire anybody younger than 18, and that's a struggle. But with you having a plant, could you hire 16-year-olds to have them do it might be pulling weeds, it might be cutting grass, it might be washing racks, it might be washing trucks or whatever, to get them introduced to the program? Because we're competing against these electricians and these HVAC guys, and hey, you're working inside. It's air conditioned, and you're going to get paid a ton of money to put wires together. It's it's hard.
Well, I think it's always been a challenge to hire for people and get people in this industry. There's no doubt about it, especially CDL drivers and that type of stuff. But we really are trying to do some of that stuff to bring in some new people. I think some of your questions that you had, sample questions, that is, how do we attract these people and what are we doing? And it is tough. And I think that's where Scotch and our industry has changed a lot. I tell people sometimes 15, 20 years ago, if we gave a truck driver 50 hours a week, he was kind of upset typically. They wanted 70 hours a week. They wanted that overtime. Nowadays, it's a little bit more focused on work-life balance, and there's definitely some positive to that for sure, and I think that does bring in some new people. But there's a never challenge to get CDL. It's harder to get a CDL. Scotch and I were talking about it. When we first started, we could hire somebody, a younger person, and get them in a truck and train them and work them up through there. Nowadays, we can't do that. They have to go to school, and these schools are $5,000, $7,000, some things that we're trying to do. And so is, a lot of people, tuition reimbursements and to get them in there. So it is challenging. Mechanics everybody needs mechanics. That's a very challenging position to find. It's interesting to hear Scotch has really brought some different ways of thinking, and it helps us do that. Or social media, In my day, you didn't have social media. You put an ad in the paper and you prayed that somebody came, and we're doing some of that, focusing on that. Are trying to develop leaders within. We're very adamant about promoting within. If we find that, one of the things that we're very excited about here at SB Cox is we are working with a leadership interwill, Luckstone interwill leadership program that we've been in for a little over a year.
Yep.
To help us be better leaders, and a lot of that is developing people in your company, and that's we're hoping is going to really bring a lot of light to it.
Gotcha. Well, good. Scotch, what are some of your ideas, maybe us older guys aren't thinking of that to encourage folks to join the industry? What are some things that you think we should do better?
What I've definitely noticed about the industry, like watching it grow, times change a lot and people have to adapt to the times. And some of the stuff we have done adapting was we just switched to a new cloud-based batching program, and I kind of headed that up, and just the technology behind that of how much it's changed from pulling levers to the right amount to the scale to just clicking buttons is a huge help. And when we have issues, I can open my laptop and figure out the problem immediately. And I think that the technology that we have now has been a huge help in growing. And, it sometimes we need to get the younger generation that understand it a little bit better than some of the older generations. And I think that's going to be a huge help to growing and for this industry.
Yeah. So we need to get further along with technology, sounds like. What about, is social media where we need to spend our time to attract them? Is that where their attention is?
Social media is just very informative now. Like you were saying, you put an ad on the paper and hope people came in. It just opens up a whole different type of networking where you can communicate with people and get them in and show them what we're doing. And I think that's a big help.
Yeah. Since you're a younger guy, I'll ask you this. What's the older guys saying? Y'all don't have a work ethic like us older guys. What is your response to that? Or
think definitely our generation has lost some of the work ethic, but I think that we need to rebuild it and get it out there that we want to work and want to do, and people that have that good work ethic will succeed. So
yeah,
we definitely are hunting for some of those people that have it, and we're always hiring and trying to get people in the door and show them this industry.
Yeah, I think maybe a lot of it has to do with you get when you're younger, you might get tied into a type of industry that you don't actually see the output of your efforts. So I guess that's one thing, I've taken for granted being in the construction industry, is that when you're part of a project, you can actually see your output for the day. So your efforts resulted in something. And I would I don't know the statistics of this or whatever, but I think a lot of folks might have went through high school and they were told to go to college and they studied whatever the school counselor told them to go study based on the salary list that they showed them. Say, hey, look, you can make a ton of money being in finance or some other IT related job or something like that, and they go into that business and they're like, I've been working my butt all day and I still don't know what I accomplished. Versus in this industry, in the concrete business, you get to see what you accomplish. You pour some concrete, you see the concrete, right?
Exactly.
And you're part of something bigger. So I'm wondering if it's unfair to say that the younger generation doesn't have a work ethic. They just haven't found the right thing that motivates them yet.
Yep.
Yeah. That's exactly. You ride down the road and say, I was a part of that building, or, we this interstate road, all that is definitely rewarding. It definitely was motivation for me going through it.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. Well, we're getting near the end here, so I ask you when I remember to ask people this, Morgan. What's one thing you want folks to remember from today's discussion?
Well, I mean, I think that's a great question. One thing,
Scotch, I'm going to ask you next, so start thinking about it.
You get a little heads up. I think what you're doing as far as trying to get the word out that this is a great industry, and there's a lot of opportunity for bringing people in and younger people into this industry. And there's a lot of, Scotch, like you were saying, the technology that's coming, that I really feel that concrete has been being made really the same way it's been made for many years. I mean, whether you pull a lever or push a button, it came out of the plant and went into a mixer and you deliver it to the job site. But I think we're on the really verge of, the whole buzzword of AI. AI is getting into our industry and getting into optimizing mixes. Autonomous vehicles are really out there, on the cuffs of that. And, we can have autonomous loaders right now. And so there's a lot of support positions that I think would interest some younger people getting in. And I think that would be something that to really take away, that this is a great industry with meeting a lot of good peers and people and challenges to build and have that reward of seeing that building that we've built to help build and go for would be.
Scotch, what would you say? What do you want everybody to remember from today?
Well, he covered a lot of it, but I would say, I think the whole kind of idea of this was how to get younger people involved. And I think it's a discussion that just needs to continue to go on until we get people really into it. There's a lot of different ways, and I know we've covered some, but I'm sure there's plenty that we haven't discussed yet. And I think just getting awareness to it and getting it out there will help.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, the VRMCA has we've seen some changes in that, to where there are some, younger people, they have the leadership, program through the VRMCA, and trying to work there. And I've always stressed to Scotch that, go out there and network and meet people and get to talking to them, and you build that peers that you really can count on to help you through your career, and it's important.
It is easier too in any industry that, the VMRCA does great with networking and connecting everybody, but it's a whole lot easier to talk to someone that's around your same age and understanding it, and to approach them about some of your problems. So getting in and having that young group where we can talk about it is huge. So I hope that continues and it grows and continues to grow.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome way to close today. Hey, Scotch, if folks want to listen or to get a hold of you and want to come to work for SB Cox because of what you said today, what's the best way to reach out to you?
The best way is you can contact us through our website. I believe all of our emails are on our website. If it's not on there, it's snelson@coxreadymix.com. You can contact me that way. I'll be happy to get in touch with you.
All right. Morgan and Scotch, thank you for coming on the episode today. This was great conversation. I think what y'all are building is awesome. Been a big fan of your company for a long time. So guys, keep on doing what you're doing.
Thank you very much for having us, Seth. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yep. And folks, until next time, let's keep it concrete.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Concrete Logic Podcast. If you got value from the show, here's how you can provide value back to support the show. Visit concretelogicpodcast.com and click the donate button to send value back. All dollar amounts are truly appreciated. And now, to close out the show, here's Mike Dunton.
That alarm always sings couple hours before the sun comes up. Open up the side, put some diesel in the lights and wait till the trucks roll up. This ain't how most folks live their lives, dripping in sweat, working overtime. But while they're tying their ties for their 9 to 5s, we're out here changing these skylines with wood, iron, and mud. We work hard for $1, give thanks to the Lord above. Never make a man do something you can't prove. Hard work calls for a drink or two. Expect more, it's written in our blood. With wood, iron, and mud. From the swamps to the city, from the Lone Star heat to the woods of the Georgia pine. Good old boys and girls who ain't afraid of getting dirty for a clean time. And if you want to see the fire in a grown man's eyes beneath the hot summer sun, find the wild-eyed boys clocking days and nights, working hard to